Show, we made it. This fruition. Made a TikTok today. I was talking about when are you gonna get extreme, or more along the lines of you have to be extreme in whatever it is that you do. Extreme, pushing the envelope, to its the highest limit. That's what I mean by being extreme, owning that authority. You understand? Forgive the sound. I was just walking, and I was on a call last night with with some business partners of mine, and the topic actually was about finances. It was a financial meeting, right? And it being that in which finances become spiritual, right? Like finances is a spiritual, it is spiritual, it's very spiritual. In the sense of not only, to be able to, buy material things, right? Or buy nice things, live in, luxury, you know, the average stuff that people like to think of when it comes to finances, right? Not so much money, but finances, right? And those are all byproducts of, being financially free, or financial freedom, right? But the spiritual part really, came full surface with me, because if you're able to be free, and free is, the spirit. That's the hook, if you will, right? To be free. What is restraints? What is ceilings? What is being in prison, right? Those are all shackles, or a form of, I want to say, a form of lack, or lack of abundance, or lack of spiritually free, being spiritually free, right? And to achieve I want to say, any type of freedom, you have to move in your own authority, or in the highest authority, and let that resonate with you. Because again, without a limit, or without a ceiling, we're talking limitless, right? You're talking about an extreme measure, not one that I know of personally, that many has achieved, or anyone really talks about achieving. Okay, in order to get there, what is it? What is the work that has to be done? Everything comes back to the mindset. That's the forefront. That's the foundation. You have to have the mindset to be not only authentic, but to be you, the free you, in authority. And that's when things come together, right? Not saying you don't have to peel back layers of yourself, and it takes that. I build on awareness. I build on, this is fruition. Manifest. That's when something becomes actually. You bring it from here into the manifestation, or the physical world, and reflection. Okay, being is the essence of becoming. So it's not good enough to, I guess, merely say that, yeah, I'm going to do a said thing. You have to own a said thing, and actually be it with the authority, if you will. And this is not just for finances is growth. It's growth. It's evolution. You know, it's you evolving. It's you being aware of the consciousness that surrounds us all. You know, whether you see it in the physical right there in front of you or not, it's there. You got to walk in it. This thing doesn't come with directions. Okay, we can follow, you know, you can follow certain steps, you know, getting pointed in the right direction, right? But life just doesn't go that way. If it did, then the person that listens the best, or the one that follows the direction the best, would, I guess, would be the winner. And in my experience, you know, life just doesn't go that way, because we're leaving out the purpose. And the purpose ultimately, like, you know, fulfillment wise, the work to be fulfilled, you have to be in your authority, and it has to be on a height, on the highest degree of, I want to say, authority. This isn't a conversation, you know, for, I want to say, everyone, the everyday distractions driven click hype. I don't know if I just made that up like that, but it's not that. This is, you know, on a certain level, of your journey. You have to experience the terrain of being, I want to say, in an unfamiliar space, or unfamiliar, I want to say, uncomfortable as in unfamiliar terrain. And in that thought, and that you can only move in your authority, because you don't know what it's like. You don't know what it's like. You don't have an ego for that, because you haven't been there. The ego had experienced your past. So you only know what the feelings of that and what you experienced already. We're talking about taking the vision and walking in it, becoming something that we don't know how it feels. We don't know what that feels like. It's a new terrain, and it takes the extreme measure. We're going to the extreme, the farthest point out, and we have to be extremists, or damn near, I want to say, delusional to get there, because it's going to require an authority that we hadn't walked in before. Had we walked in it, excuse me, let that go by. Man, it's nice out, man. That authority is going to require you to be in a space, in time, in which you not only never been in before, but it's going to require a different version, the highest version of ourselves, to be able to not manipulate, but to be able to move about in a certain light and demonstrate. All right. It doesn't matter what it is you're doing. It could be the health journey. You know, without being healthy, you know, you can't be wealthy without being healthy. It might be in the business demographic. You know, you have to be, when you're gonna go extreme in it. You know, this content thing, you know, just doing things in different spaces, with interacting with different people, being involved with different people. All of these things falls under the same umbrella. You understand? I mean, you name it. You know, being in your sobriety. You know, facing world. You know, without the vice to kind of numb what you've been going through, and to go through this thing with, you know, a clear mind and a clear, I want to say, seeing clear, without, you know, without the pacifying of self-sabotaging ways, either, from drug use or alcohol use, or, use of, other avenues that, just to take you off of the path in which, you're destined, or you're headed, in, you understand? By not only by sight, but by thought. See, because we have another eye that these eyes can't deceive. You know, I say this, even when you're communicating, right, with yourself or others, right, there cannot be any communication if it's no truth to it. Let me say that again for the people in the back. Without truth, being honest, there is no communication. The communication is dead. And this is communication with self, as well as communicating with others. It has to be, communication is only based in truth. By truth, I mean fact. When you're going to go extreme, it's time to get extreme, where you can't even tell. I'm telling you, where you can't even tell that current version that you see. Like, man, who is this? Where'd he come from? Because the memory serves the purpose of what something used to feel like, or an experience that, a past experience. That's an old prior self, an outdated version of the software. We're not only trying to upgrade, we're building a whole new engine to go, somewhere where this thing never been. I mean, in your mind, you might know where, what it what you might want it to look like, or let's just say, in your mind, you might know what it looked like when we get there, but you haven't been there to experience the feeling. So it's not like, it's not fruition yet. It hasn't manifested, and if you have to align with it, and that's when, in my experience, you kind of have to go extreme with it. Now, don't get discouraged when you're not always extreme. I'll give you an example. When shout out brother John Ross, man. Life gets in the way, right? Life's happening, right? I said a couple videos about it. Like, when you're when you're becoming something else, it's like, the old ego got a pull on you, and at all costs, when you're heading to do, I don't want to say you're heading to do, you're on the direction of doing the right thing, or you're making progress in whatever it is that you're doing, that the old self is attempting to do what's familiar, what it's used to. That's the ego. The ego is past tense. What someone used to be back in my heyday, also ran, my dad would say, also ran, right? That's all ego, right? That's the ego. And the ego has a good place if you use it right. The ego has a place. It's a place for the ego. I use the ego as a tool, Cuz was not gonna quit. His ego wouldn't let him quit. It's a place for it. You got to use it right, but you're not supposed to be attached to the ego. That dude know damn well he shouldn't be out there, running with them young bucks, like that. He can't run at that. He got to play a different game. The father time is in a different. He's in a different anatomy than they are. if that makes any sense. What tells, in boxing, you could tell the guys that got the years on them, their legs ain't as sharp as the the younger guys, right? And and then he's in sports in general, right? So, in that sort of way, don't be attached to the ego where you hurt yourself and put yourself at a disadvantage being attached to it. Use the ego in another way. Say, yeah, they were ready to quit. Oh, gee, they don't know. He wasn't going to quit. His ego wouldn't let him quit. He just was playing he was playing in a different game than them. You understand? His purpose on being on that field or on that court or being in the game and life gaming, right, is that keeps him in shape, that keeps him going, keeps him in motion, not necessarily to show all the moves and show, that he still has speed and, like that sort of thing. So now we're dealing with not only ego, we're dealing with purpose and the purpose of the ego and where we, and what we got to do to get where we going. Extreme measures, extreme measure. You got to get extreme with it, kind of go freak with it. Especially, especially when it's, when you're dealing with an idea and an idea, that's tied to a purpose, and you can see where you're going. It has a beginning and a point in which you have to arrive at. Yeah, that may call for extreme measures in anything that we do. You got to have that authority. The authority is the freedom to do what do what you will as you will. Not really being subject to opinions of others. You understand? Someone may have an opinion about what it is that you're doing, whether they like it or dislike it. You know what I mean? You're not validated by anyone's opinion of what's going on, or you shouldn't seek validations. You know what I'm saying? When you gonna go hard, man, get extreme with it, man. Go real freak, delusional with it, man. Whether that's on your fitness journey, on your business journey, man, and in everything on your journey, man. Just be that. Just be and stay in the now and be and own the moment, man. Right now, you got to do it now and just go, man. It's a numbers game. It's a numbers game. You understand? I hope everybody has a truly wonderful, great everything. I'm Drew. Peace.